Hello everyone, I'm the Viking General, and in this video I'll be going through 8 tips for defending your castles. Let's begin. Tip number 1, and probably the biggest one. Don't be afraid to actually leave your castle. There are many cases where engaging your enemies on the field is actually beneficial. This is especially true if you have cavalry, since they are a lot more powerful on the open fields. You can use cavalry to take out enemy archers or to distract melee troops, for example. If possible, taking out the enemy general is also very advantageous, although you should be careful when leaving the castle, since the AI will respond to any potential sally outs. Tip number 2. You want to keep your missile troops on the wall for as long as possible. While missile troops are on the wall, they get a large bonus to their reload skill. To help with this, you can station defensive troops under the wall your archers are placed on. Combine this with the number 1 tick on single level castles to prevent enemies from climbing the wall. Tip number 3. One of the most dangerous things during a defensive siege are enemy archers. You want to neutralize that threat as soon as possible, either by sacrificing some units on a diversion, using the castle layout to lure the enemy archers into climbing the walls and then easily dispatching them, or to mitigate the damage a bit. You can also use buildings and structures for cover. Countering enemy archers with your own archers is generally inefficient unless you are sure you can wipe the enemy archers out in a volley or two. Tip number 4. Keep an eye on your archery towers. While they are sure to help during the defense, they are a double-edged sword, since the AI will generally try to capture them. If the AI captures them, the towers will actually change sides and the towers will actually start firing at your troops. So, if they get captured, try to destroy them as fast as possible unless you are sure you can recapture it immediately. Tip number 5. Don't put your melee troops on the walls. While it might seem a little bit counterintuitive, placing melee units on the wall will actually make them less effective. This is because your troops will be spread out across the wall and the enemy will be able to achieve a local superiority and start to overwhelm your troops. It's better to keep your troops back, especially since the AI units will simply charge forward and don't take the time to form up. Furthermore, ironically, the Yari wall ability cannot be used when a Yari Ashigari unit is on the wall. Tip number 6. If possible, have a unit in reserve near your gates. When the enemy unit routes inside your castle, it can only try to escape through your gates. If you have a unit stationed there, you can easily wipe out the routing units, preventing them from rallying and making sure you can counter-attack on your turn more effectively. Tip number 7. Make use of all the space available to you. It might be limited, but generally it's still possible to position your troops in such a way you'll be able to charge enemy units in the flank and or in the rear. Those charges are not necessarily to inflict damage, but to actually break the enemy units. Even if you only hit a few models in the flank or the rear, it will still inflict a morale penalty to the entire unit. Tip number 8. Units provided by the castle replenish instantly, so even if you get attacked during the same turn, they will be at full strength, regardless of whether they got completely wiped out during the previous battle. This means that you can freely sacrifice those garrison units, so make sure these units will face the brunt of the enemy attack or do the most dangerous jobs. Alright. Those were all the tips. Hopefully you learned a thing or 2 or 8. I used this format because I just wasn't able to get all this information in a single coherent segment, but let me know what you think of this format in the comments below. In any case, thank you for watching.